It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Oh, welcome back, Mzansi, your Feel Good Breakfast Show, opening up on S3 right here on a Friday, which is feeling so incredibly pumped and hyped. And not forgetting that we're bringing in all things in terms of balance. So from the ups to the downs and from things that you might be struggling with, here's maybe a way that we can assist you. We're talking about smoking. And smoking is one of the toughest habits to break, right? I'm sure all of you that are smoking that have tried can definitely agree with this. But with the right tools, strategies, and support, I think quitting is definitely achievable. Now, we have our local GP here, Dr. Leila Kasim, who's joining us once again to guide us through the process and also offer some expert advice on overcoming nicotine addiction and improving your overall health. So when we talk about the new season, this might be a new season to get quitting and find some new invigorated health in your lungs, right? Sure. Doc, how are you doing this morning?
I'm very well.
Yeah, you
on
good?
this lovely Friday morning.
It is. I'm ready for the weekend, but maybe we can assist people in making it a monumental weekend and possibly help them quitting smoking. My question is, why is it so difficult for so many people to stop smoking? And what is that like underlying factor that's really making it that difficult?
Yeah, so I mean, that's such a good question, and I'm sure many smokers think about this all the time,
Yeah.
wanting to stop when thinking about smoking cessation. So essentially the key words are nicotine and reward pathway. When you smoke, nicotine essentially activates your reward pathway, which releases dopamine. And dopamine makes you feel, you have a pleasurable response. It makes you feel good. So that's sort of how you become addicted to nicotine or to smoking. It's because of the dopamine release, because it makes you feel good.
And that's like a proper hook, because if you look at things like sugar and good foods, you can see how that dopamine, even on our cell phones these days, we get so hooked by it and we lose ourselves within it without even realizing.
Exactly, and it's addictive.
So this makes absolute sense. So what would be some like sort of steps for people that are maybe starting a smoking cessation program? Anything to look out for? Because many people attempt it, many people are wanting to, but they might not be, let's say, mentally prepared and physically prepared to take it on. What should they be looking out for?
So I mean, I like to approach it as a holistic approach. You know that nicotine releases the dopamine, so that makes you feel good. So try to find things that make you feel good in place of, leading towards going for a smoke or going for a cigarette.
So like replacing that habit with another good habit that gives you the same ROI, like stimulation?
Exactly that.
Okay.
So filling your cup in other ways that are healthier. And then also have a good support system. You can never do this alone. Many people think they feel quite embarrassed about it. Your friends, your family members are always there to support, and you'll be surprised. And then, as I said, stick to a nice, healthy lifestyle. Fill your cup with things. So have healthy eating habits. Go for an exercise. Increase fluid hydration, which can release the toxins easily. So it's about filling your cup and knowing how to have an excess or an alternative way of releasing your dopamine.
Yeah, and I think that
good.
when we live in a country like South Africa, we have so much beauty around us and so much in terms of like a playground that we can like sort of really get stimulation, really get that sort of endorphin rush by doing so many things socially on your own, adventure experience.
Exactly.
Doesn't matter. What I think does matter though is that some people might be on that journey of quitting and they're doing really well. Then I often hear them like saying, I'm 3 weeks clean, or I've got 3 weeks without a cigarette, it's been 2 months. But then suddenly they slip, and it's often during those times when they are hyper stressed or something just triggers them to the point where they can't do anything more and they have to go. Maybe like a social a night out where all your friends around you are smoking, and then you just habitually find yourself lighting one up. How do you avoid these triggers? How can we build a system that makes us aware of this slippery slope that we might be sliding down and not slide down it and stay on top?
So it's all about balance, and I always say set goals for yourself, be realistic so you can prepare yourself for things. So if you know that you won't be able to cope with having lots of people around you smoke, try to avoid those situations.
Is that your trigger, yeah?
Or exactly, try to avoid triggers or have things put in place to prevent you from having that trigger, essentially. So instead of going out for your cup of coffee and having a smoke with it, continuing your habits, maybe try other things in place of that. And then again, the support, letting your family and friends know so that they can understand and help prevent and avoid those triggers as well.
I think that's definitely a good one, because often it's our external environment that adds that unnecessary pressure, which can often be negative. And if you just communicate, you don't have to feel embarrassed. I think you're 100% right. There's a lot of people out there in our corner wanting to support us, especially our family and friends. Lastly, I want to say, with something like a nicotine replacement therapy, we have options like Nicorette, which I believe are clinically proven to almost double the chances of quitting. How do we go about making sure that we gain the success here? And how do we maybe sort of ensure that this becomes a successful part of the sort of new programming we take on?
Exactly. So just remember that the Nicorette or a cholinergic agent itself is not going to stop you from smoking. So it's about the mindset, it's about your plan that you set in place. But it most certainly can help reduce cravings.
Oh, nice.
So in that sense, it can help reduce you from craving and prevent you from going to have that cigarette, and to put other things in place instead of having that cigarette.
So it's almost like numbing that negative urge to go out there and do it again. I can't thank you enough, Dr. Lelis, for coming through, educating us, and I think giving people some hope, giving some people some inspiration, because I think this is something that so many people are actually genuinely struggling with, and they're not sure and aware of how to move past this. I think what you've just spoken about is definitely the right track. So a great start to the weekend, I think, for many that are trying to take on this challenge. And a reminder to you, Mzansi, nicotine replacement therapies like Nicorette, which we've spoken about now, are clinically proven to double your chances of quitting for good. So why not take that step today? And I mean, quitting smoking can literally open up the door to achieving something truly amazing for your health and, of course, your overall well-being. Good luck.